what's happening, party people? It's your favorite leather craftsman, R.D. Muhammad, the leather cowboy, right here at Premier Leather Craft Studios in the dirty South is where I lay my head at. Today's video, you guys, first of all, if you guys are, the time that I'm recording this, I am working. I am always working, but for the rest of the world out there, you know, happy holidays, season greetings, all of that good stuff. I don't celebrate holidays. But I know that the majority of my viewers do. So with that, I hope that you guys have a very memorable one and a safe one today. But I have time on my hands, and then all of my daughters are grown too, so we don't do all of that particular stuff around my way. But for those of you who do, have a safe one and a blessed one. So, but today's video, with the time that I got today, I was sitting here and I bought these little plaques, one for my daughter to do. I was buying this little project. You can buy these little plaques at Walmart. They're like $1.97 for this little piece of wood. So, but what I'm going to show you guys today is turning this plain little poplar wood into leather art. Now, this also falls into that category of small projects that can make you a lot of money. Make sure my mic is on. This also falls in that category of small projects that can make you a lot of money. And this is one in particular. Especially for those of you who don't have a niche yet. You don't know what you want to do. You tried your hand at belts, you tried your hand at holsters and knife sheaths and purses, and the list goes on and on and on. But for those of you who don't know what to do yet, give this one a serious consideration. This is probably one of the easiest leather projects that anybody can get into because it's doing leather art, leather pictorials. Now, in this particular field, a lot of money can be made. Now, if you turn it horizontal or portrait style, it really doesn't matter. But you can pick the shapes of these little plaques that you want. And I picked up 5 of them. I wanted to find them. Yeah, let me get them for you. It was actually more than 5. But I picked up this one here. Well, I got 2 of these. And then I bought 2 of the square ones. And then I bought this one here. So I got plenty of different little projects that I can put together. Now, I'm going to do this as a 2-in-1 video. One, the leather art, leather pictorials. And you can see I started wood burning this because she wanted to get off into wood burning. So, but when she fell off and didn't want to wood burn, I said, hey, Daddy know what to do with these. I'm going to cover this in leather, and then we're still going to be able to sell it. So I'm going to sand this down as much as I can to get that darkness out of there, to fade that off a little bit. And then we're going to cover this with a leather piece. So now, but the video is about Sheridan design. So let me give you guys a quick rundown about Sheridan. Sheridan is one of the most popular art forms in the leather crafting industry. It hasn't always been, but it is one of the most popular art forms in the leather crafting industry today. Now, who made Sheridan popular is a man named Don King. Not the boxing promoter, not that Don King. It's a different Don King out of Sheridan, Wyoming. Now, Don was, well, he probably still is if he's still living. I don't know if he's still living or not. But he was a custom saddle maker. Started way back in the 1950s. His father took him around. It was very connected to the horse and rodeo circuit and all of this kind of stuff like this. So he was able to pick up a lot of knowledge off of that West Coast saddlery. And Don, I mean, he had a huge business out west, actually worldwide, because if you had a King saddle, man, you had something. I mean, it was truly collector's pieces, truly there for the artistry. I am not taking anything away from him. He's a legend in the leather crafting world. But the actual leather crafting designing goes all the way back to the 1800s. And at that time, you can tell how much money or where somebody was from based on the saddle or the saddle bags or the bridles and the harnesses, the holsters. You can pretty much tell what part of the country the old cowboys came from based on their saddles. So now, back in those days, people bought saddles like we buy cars. You don't buy a saddle every 3-4 months or 6 months. When you bought a saddle, you bought that thing to really be somewhere. Now, from my research and from the people that I've talked to concerning this, there were 4 popular styles back in that 1800 time, back during the Western days. Of course, you had the Kansas City style. Texas was another one. Then you had your Southern California, Mexico. That part was in there. Then you had your Wyomings, your Montanas, and all of the cowboys and ranchers that settled up around that part. You didn't too much have any real cowboys anywhere else other than those 4 areas predominantly. Now, Sheridan design, regardless of popular opinion, and you guys can do your research on this, and I know a lot of crafters that I'm going to upset by this, but Sheridan design within itself is deeply rooted into the Spanish-Mexican history. Now, to date, those were the real cowboys. You was a real, now the term changed as it was westernized, as parts of Mexico, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, all of that was captured from the Mexicans back in that day, the Spanish-American War, and they took over those states along the southern border. But those were the real cowboys. Even today, the artistry and the type work that our Hispanic family south of the border put into their saddles and into their horses and the bridles and all that, I still haven't seen anybody touch the amount of money and the artistry that they put into their stuff. But even the Sheridan design is deeply rooted into that culture. Now, let's speed this up before Sheridan became Sheridan of what we know it is today. There was actually one that was before Sheridan. One that I particularly like it because, one, it has now become a lost leather crafting form. The Versailles or Versailles, depending on how you want to say it. Is Versailles. Now, the original term is a French term, but it was spoken of more widely in Southern California and Mexico back at that time. And I don't think that the French had too much to deal with. I don't know. I don't know if the French came over, had something to do with the old Spanish Mexicans or not. But, however, that Versailles design was very popular in Southern California. And it would lead you to believe that there is a Versailles, California. But I am not sure because it's only about this much history on that particular saddle making company. And now that they're out of business, so whoever was the one that brought that art form to saddle making is now gone, and all of the descendants are gone, and they're probably not doing leather crafting anymore. So that's why when you do research on that Versailles, it's only about that much, and then you'll see pages and pages and pages about Sheridan. You don't hear too much talked about the Kansas City style saddles anymore. You don't hear too much talked about the original Texas style saddles. Now, or saddle design. Let me say the design, the artwork, the artistry. We're specifically talking about the artistry. Now, Also, according to that history, is most of your saddles that came from Midwest back over to the East. So from Texas and Kansas back over to the Eastern Coast, those saddles were more for the ranchers style because the saddles were bigger. So they were bigger, they had bigger horns, bigger blah, 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 blah. But they was designed more for a specific function of the rider, for the rider, than it was for the artistry and the detailing as it was. Now, you guys, I mean, this is no different than it is today. Out west is always flashy. In Texas, everything is always bigger. So they had bigger saddles. Now, most of the people out east, they were smaller saddles, just like your basic rider saddles, or basic saddle riders. They weren't doing a whole bunch of ranching, and even to this day, you do see horse ranches here on the East Coast, but they're more for either racing or they're more for the equestrian side of it. They're not doing barrel racing and calf roping and all of that stuff most of the time out on the East Coast. Now, Alabama, probably a little bit. Some parts of Georgia, maybe a little bit. But pretty much outside of that, so the saddle design is a little bit different. And especially if you're into the equestrian side of it, those saddles pretty much resemble a bicycle seat, you ask me. But it serves its own function. So you're not doing a lot of the Sheridan design or the Versailles design or the old school Kansas City, which that's lost now. I have really thoroughly researched the intraweb to see if I can find some old Kansas City style saddles or some old Texas design style saddles, and I couldn't find anything. And like I said, it's only one little bit of paragraph, and it's probably about 4 sentences on the Versailles, and it just talks about when it started and when it went out of business, and nobody's heard nothing else about it. So but if you come across, and sometimes you can come across these older crafters that might have had a good mentor that taught them the various styles, you can find they might have some old school books like back in the Al Stallman days or back in the Don King days. I'm pretty sure he has some type of information on that particular style because he was, through his history, he traveled out that west coast a lot. So, but what brings me to the Sheridan? Now, the only two to the Sheridan. But before I do that, there's only 2 fundamental differences between Versailles and Sheridan design. Both are identical as far as looking at it, with the scrolls and the flowers and the different floral patterns, the different flowers that you might choose to work with. The scrolls are pretty much the same, except Versailles is more background work. A lot more background work. And whoever that crafter was, oh my God, it took him forever to do all of the backgrounding. Now, the artwork is slimmer or skinnier, still the same with the infinity style format with the scrolls where you can't see where it starts and where it ends, but it's more open spaced and there's a lot more backgrounding work involved, which is the exact opposite to Sheridan. Now, Sheridan, it's less backgrounding work and more attention to details on the scrolls and the floral patterns that you choose. That's why you see it looks a lot more busier. That's just because it's a lot more compact into the Sheridan scroll. So Sheridan, you can cover up a lot with the artwork, and maybe that's what Don King discovered. Hey, look, I'm doing a whole lot of backgrounding work. Yeah, you can see the detailing of the scrolls and the flowers, but I'm spending a whole bunch of time doing background work. Now, if you're carving and doing background work, you guys already know how tedious backgrounding work is. But on the Sheridan design, it's not as much background work, but it's a lot more floral patterns in the scrolls, which that's what we're going to show you guys today, because what I'm going to give you is, being that Sheridan is as popular as it is, it's not going anywhere. Now, I have been working diligently the past 8 years on trying to really put interest back into the Versailles, just to give it a little, give the Sheridan people a little competition or whatnot. But I always find myself back into that toiling process of all the background work. And until somebody makes a backgrounding tool big enough to cover up that much leather space, oh man, I just go right back to Sheridan, because it's you know, not that it looks any better. It's just that I don't have to do as much backgrounding, because you're still doing the same amount of carving, you're still doing the same scrolling, you're still doing pretty much the same amount of beveling, but it's that when it comes to that background, man. And I'll get to that in a minute, because what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you guys the cheat code of all cheat codes. This is how to do Sheridan design easy. Or let me say it like this: Sheridan design made easy. And I'm going to give you guys the cheat code. Now, there are a lot of crafters out here that, I mean, man, they can draw straight onto the leather, and they can come out exactly. I mean, they do some beautiful work. One of my favorite leather crafters that I like to watch is Don Gonzalez. Man, that guy is and Don has his own salary. So if you guys he has a channel right here on YouTube. So if you're in the saddles, now Don makes a lot of other stuff too. But I mean, man, this guy, I mean, his artistry, I don't think his artistry takes a back seat to nobody. He's right up there to me. Now that's to me. Let me say that. To me, he's right up there with the greats, with his artistry and his attention to detail, and how he uses his stamping tools to really make his artwork really come to life. I mean, and it breathes. And it's not too busy. It's not jumbled up. I just like his style. There are several that I like out there who does the Sheridan design. Odin Leather is another guy. Man, I love his work. Of course, Chan Greer, I've bought some of his patterns before. And Steve Yizik, I think I'm saying his name right. I bought some of his patterns before. You know, I love Steve's patterns just because he takes a different approach with the sunflowers. When pretty much everybody is doing the same type of floral patterns, he's done a remarkable job by setting himself apart with those sunflowers. If you see any Sheridan design work with a sunflower in it, odds are they were influenced by Steve's work, or it is Steve's work. One of the two. Now, the only one that really sets itself to me, and it's kind of like a Sheridan pattern, and that is Jim Linnell. Now, what I love about Jim Linnell's work is it's all swivel knife. If you haven't had a chance to check out Jim Linnell's swivel knife class, or if you can go and find some of his stuff online on YouTube, he does awesome work just with the swivel knife. I mean, and it's no backgrounding, no none of that. But anyway, anytime you can find a crafter that can write his signature with a swivel knife, that man is good with a knife. I hate to get into a fight with him, because man, if he can carve his name with a swivel knife, I mean, and it's a signature, legible, readable, and it's not going down, it's not going up, you don't have different size letters. That is remarkable. So check out those people in your spare time. But let's get right off into this. This is called Sheridan design made easy. And again, even if you want to do something different like me and get off into the Versailles, the only thing is different is in the Versailles is more backgrounding work versus less backgrounding work in the Sheridan. So it was more of the florals and the scrolls in the Sheridan and less into the Versailles. So let's get right off into this. So what I've already done, I went ahead and just traced out the pattern of my plaque. And then I took my wing dividers. And then I was able to go around this right here. And this is where you see I have the borders and all of that stuff like that. And I'm going to clean up these corners here. Actually, I'm going to do this a little different because this center piece here is the piece that I am going on the leather that I will cut out and center on that plaque. And then we'll just do some wood burning border and scrolls around the outside just for decoration. So I'm going to do the exact same Sheridan design scrolls around the outside parts here, or maybe just something on the inside parts and leave the top and the bottom alone. But I want this leather art to be the focal point, which is the center piece here. So this is how you're going to make Sheridan design made easy. First of all, you want to cut you out several different circles. Now, the ones that I do, and I just took my wing divider, spread that out to 2 inch. Take your ruler, spread your wing dividers out to 2 inches. Let me get your measure tape. So you want to spread this out 2 inches. So 11 to 9 is where we are. Boom. And then I traced out the circle. Made me a 2-inch circle. This is a 2.5. And then I also have some 3-inch circles too, just to give me a different variation, right? So all you need is just 3, a 2, 2.5, and a 3. Or a 2, 2.5, 2.25, or you might want to go 2 1/4. Whatever size you want to do is basically dependent upon the size of the flower that you're using. See, this floral here is a little bit bigger than my 2-inch circle. So this is why I got the 2.5, because it fits right into that 2.5. And the same thing, now this one is a little smaller, so I'm going to use this one on the smaller square. And then I have my leaves. So this leaf is going to go to this flower here, and this one is going to go to this one here. Very easy. Cheat code to Sheridan design. This makes it so easy. And then you have a little bit of room too to switch them up and do some different creative stuff. Now, here's my bag of circles and flowers and leaves. So I keep these, and you can see there's my big 3-inch. No, that's not the 3-inch. There it is, the 3-inch there. There's my 3-inch. So I just depending on the piece that I'm working on. And then you can go ahead and help yourself by putting so you'll know where to center this at, right? So it doesn't matter what particular work you're working on. And you can put these on cereal boxes or poster board, whichever one is easy for you. But you definitely want to center these, and that way everything will stay lined up. And now on this one here, I just marked the outside parts, because I don't know what I was going through at that time, but these are the 3 sizes that I generally work with, right? So, and then I have different floral patterns. So I know if I'm working on the 3-inch circle, I know I'm going to use this one here. And you can see that the stems are already curved into getting it prepped and ready for my Sheridan. This way, I can get the exact same flower, size, shape, and look every time. Leaves, everything is going to be the exact same every time. And all you're doing is just tracing those out onto your pattern. Now, I haven't gotten as good as Don Gonzalez by being able to draw straight onto the leather itself. I'm not. I probably am. I just like to look at it first because I might change something up during the designing work. There's a different flower pattern there, different flower pattern there, different flower there, different leaf there. So you can do these in all different ways, right? All right, so let's get right back to this because I don't want to keep you guys long. I just want to give you this cheat code. So now the first thing that you want to do is what I was taught is now you can use the same size circle and use the same size circles if you so choose. But while you are drawing or getting your pattern together, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with the 2 on both of these. The 2.5 is just too big to fit in this particular artwork, or I can just go with 1. I can go with 1 here. And now, and I think this is what I'm going to do because what I'm seeing in my head now is that I can go here. Actually, I love the design in this flower better. And I'm going to go with this leaf. And see, doing it this way, ladies and gentlemen, you can you can go ahead and start putting your flowers and leaves how you want them to go based on how you want your scroll to come off. So what I'm seeing in my head is one scroll is going to come this way and another scroll is going to come this way, right? So now that as the scroll comes into it, it's going to come in and loop. So now with this Sheridan design, let me grab another piece. Now the major key to Sheridan is the infinity pattern. You should never be able to see where your scroll begins and ends. That is the secret sauce right there. And you guys know what the infinity symbol is this right here, where you can't see the beginning and the ending. That's why it's an infinite. It's always going. And so when you're getting ready to lay down your Sheridan design, if this was the bottom of this circle here, you want one scroll to come off on one end, and then you want the other one to come off on the other end. So if I am drawing this circle here, now you don't want to make the circle dark. You just want to give yourself a guide and a base. But depending on how you want your scrolls to come off is how you want to lay your flower. Now, so if I'm wanting, like on this plaque here, if I'm wanting this flower to sit in this corner to where you can see it, let me turn this around for you guys to see. If I want this flower to come off on this end, right? If I want it to come off on this end, my scroll is going to come up here and loop around the top. And it's also going to come off the bottom and come over here. That way I have this space over here to do any tooling work or whatever other artistry that I want to do in this space. But so let's give you guys that start right there, right quick. So being that I want it to come off that way, let's just go ahead and put this onto the paper. But this is the overall look. Scroll is going to come off here and loop over this way. And the scroll is going to come off here and loop back this way. Right? So it's going to come up. Well, no, I just told you guys wrong. I'm going to have to go back and edit that. So the way this is going to come off, so if I want my flower to be here, the scroll is going to come off and go to the right. And it's also going to come off here and go to the left. This is setting up that infinity type of motion. So if I was to connect these with the infinity, it's coming off here and looping back over here in the 8. Also, it's coming over here and going in an 8, right? So this is the base pattern of what we're going to be showing you guys to do in this cheat code on Sheridan. So let's go ahead and get right off into this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly scribe my circle. Well, this is onto the paper. So unless you just want to do a lot of hard erasing, I just still scribe very light, because in Sheridan, this base circle is not going to be there. Let me say that again. This base, your starter circle to put everything into motion, is not going to permanently stay into your artwork. This will eventually be erased or absorbed into the artwork. So let's put my flower here. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to turn my flower a quarter turn to clockwise. I'm going to turn it a quarter turn clockwise. This is straight. I'm going to go a quarter turn clockwise. Now, this is key. Well, let's go ahead and trace this out real fast. Tracing out my flower. Now your flower can go dark because it's permanently going to stay there. It's going to stay. It's not going to move anywhere. Right? All right, so while I got my flower here, I'm going to go ahead and fill in all of this. Just make this dark. Because this is going to stay. Nothing is going to change about the flower. And again, it's just giving you guys a cheat code, because everybody wants to do Sheridan. And sometimes these people make Sheridan more harder than what it actually is. And it's not really hard. If you remember those two things, the infinity, whichever way you turn that infinity or that figure 8, is going to go the opposite direction on another side. All right. So while I got my flower here, I'm going to go ahead and draw my petals. Get this in. Just an easy way. Now you guys can see I got my petals in. And now I'm going to draw my folds. And now we got that out the way. Now I'm not going to set my leaves just yet, because I want to go ahead and start getting and laying out my scrolls. So now, like I told you, this is going to stump your first sticker. Some people call them stickers, or the beginning buds of a new flower. All right. So we come here, and this is straight. So I'm going to come back in a half. I'm going to come all the way around. This is half. And then I'm going to go back another quarter right here. So I really want my first scroll to start coming in right here. Now, let me drop this to you guys too. Your scroll should be a continuing, a smooth S shape. It shouldn't have any flat spots in that. That's creating that permanent infinity. You want a smooth S pattern. So that S is coming in right into my scroll. Right into my flower. Now I'm going to come down almost to my circle. Now here's the second one here. I'm going to take that same pattern and come back around this way and come up and come over here. Now this is flat. You see why I got a lot of flat spots in here? So this is why I don't draw straight onto the onto the leather, because I do a lot of erasing to make sure that I get my flow right. And if you have to turn it, turn your artwork to where you can work with it. So I'm going to come in here. It's going to be that continuous curve and that continuing. You want to have that curve to be continuous. And that gives me the basis of my pattern. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen. Just like that. Now I'm going to make this a little darker so you guys can see on that end. And I know I'm working this upside down. Now, again, this is just the basis. It's enough to give you a starting point to where you can practice, and practice and practice and practice. That's what you want to do. You get better by practicing. So now that I know how my flow is going to work, now I'm going to start coming in here with, I'm going to do my first stem right here. I'm going to put 2 little C's right up under, or parentheses. Let me say it like that. 2 parentheses right up under the base of my flower, the bottom of that flower. And I'm going to draw my first stem coming off right here. Now, the stem on the right side is going to be longer than the left one. And I'm going to almost come down and touch that line of my circle. So this one right here is going to go in that same direction, but I'm going to stop as soon as it passes the this part of the stem, right at the head of that stem. Now the interior one is going to go long and go right into almost to my circular line, but not just to touch it. Now again, remember my base circle is going to be erased. So that base circle is not going to be there. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come right off of that with just a straight line. And then I'm going to work my way around my flower by putting these little scrolls here. Now these little scrolls are simple, ladies and gentlemen. They're just going to be stickers. So I'm going to start with the little parentheses here, come all the way down. And then I'm just going to put another little hook right here. Not parentheses. These are basically going to be 2 C's on the same side of each other. And I'm going to come almost to my base circle. And then I'm going to come here again, draw another one. And then I'm going to make this tail a little long. Draw another one here, come right on down. Draw another one here. Actually, I can make this one even long enough to go all the way to my bud. And then I'm going to come and take this one, make it come a little longer. That one's good. And make this one a little longer. Almost to my circle, but not quite. All right? And you guys, it should look like this. You can start to see the stickers coming through. Now, this is the part right here. With Sheridan, this part here is going to be background. You see how small that is? Now, in Versailles, it would be the opposite. The bigger part would be backgrounded, because it just opens it up to where you can see more of the flower, more than it is all of the scrolls and the stickers, right? Okay, now once you get that part of your drawing done, on the exact opposite side of these is going to go another bud. And it's going to come up with a little C here. And you can bring that tail down a little bit. And then this is where we're going to pull this back down into the next one. And then it can go here and come back down into the next one. And as you can see, it's going to start connecting to your vine that's going over here. Now, you don't want it to run right into the vine, so you want to draw that right on the outside of that vine. because that's going to be setting up the stage for something else. Okay? Again, like I said, this is why I don't draw straight onto the leather. I don't draw straight onto the leather because now you can get lost into your artwork. But I'm going to stick right there on that side of it and pull that up in between. Right? And what I'm going to do is keep coming. Now, once you get to where it connects, where your curve, your back spine of this scroll is starting to go back over your circle, what a lot of crafters do is, well, here's the easy way. Take your flower and go ahead and plant you a flower. Now, you want to go in the direction of your drawing. So you want to plant you a flower coming out of this bud right here. So you can kind of cover or mask that little infinity connection with a leaf. And then we're just going to come right inside of this leaf and erase all of that. This is why you don't want to draw heavy at first. You want to do everything as a light line, and then once you start to erase, it will cover that up and mask it. Even your scroll, you want to erase all of that because your leaf is going to cover up anything right there in the center of that. Now you can come back with a darker bold because you're not going to be erasing that anymore, right? And then I'm just going to go ahead and draw my stem right in there too. And then that's done. And then I can keep coming. Now you can do that. And then you can come back with another leaf right here. Lay it right on top of that. And then draw that stem right into that. See, here we are again with the Sheridan influence, because now I am taking away a lot of that space by putting more leaves and more artwork into it, right? I'm taking a lot of space away. So basically, you want your tools to do the work by covering up as much space as possible. So, like I said, here, in this little open space right here, that will be backgrounded. And in between the little stickers here will be backgrounded. So you don't have as much work to do with backgrounding. It's all carving and beveling. So, and then even over here, if I wanted to background this, I can background that to make, once I bevel these scrolls and make them stand out more, I can just background this. Or I can just plant me another scroll or a leaf right or something right there. All right. So now let's get back to the drawing. And I'm going to come out with a scroll right here. I'm not touching the line. I'm just almost touching it. Because this is going to go, I'm going to come out here and then draw that little hook back down this way. Now, once I get so far, I'm going to put another one here. Almost touching the line, but not quite. And you can offset these two. They don't have to be right back to back. You can just offset those. Right? And then once we get here, I need to make this turn to where it's going to split, right? So I'm going to come here with one. I'm going to put a new flower right there. And come right down this stalk. And then out of here, I'm just going to come up and make a big bud. Just to throw that off from the eye of the person who's looking at it. Right? I'm going to put me a big bud there. And draw that right down there. Right? And then I'm just going to keep working my way up this line. So now this sticker here, you can't be able to see it because of the leaf. So what we're going to do is barely make that come out. Just to give it a little, just to let people know that there's a bud behind this leaf. And then I'm just going to keep coming up right here. Another little C, come down that. And another one here, and come down that. Or you can just make this, let's go ahead and kill this end. Go ahead and kill this end. And just make another big bud there. And that's going to finish off that right there. And then you can put a little duck bill right here just to say, hey, look, this is one that's about to bloom. It's about to bloom. Just giving you guys a cheat code, man, on doing this. It's not hard. Not hard at all. It's like everything else. It takes practice. And now I'm going to make this one here a little bit bigger so I can fill in that space. And see, there it goes again. It's taking up a lot more room here. And now we're going to do the exact same thing to this side over here. So we're going to come up and hook. And then come up. Now this is, I'm going to clean this up a little bit too. And then I'm just going to finish this off with a nice little bud on this end over here, just to finish it off. And then you can drop another flower in there, another leaf if you want to just go ahead and take this on out. You can put leaves anywhere there's a union on your scroll. You can drop a leaf in there. Leaf, leaf. And then come right back here. Put that right there. And you can come around with a leaf right here. When in doubt, leaf it out. I don't know if y'all got that. Bad joke. All right. When in doubt, leaf it out. And then how am I going to finish this end off? I think I'm just going to finish this end off with one big bud. And then draw me another limb there. And then I'm just going to come back in and darken up all of my lines that I really want to look at. And then that way, when I get ready to start tracing this, only my dark lines that I want to keep will show through my tracing film. Right? And I'm just going to start extending all of these lines out to really mask. So now my light scribed pencil marks won't be seen, or I know not to trace those, because pretty much looking through that tracing film is going to be not really put another bud right here, another scroll right here, or sticker. There. So now I can start erasing this light inner circle, because I'm really not going to use that. So I can start erasing that and then darkening up my lines here. And I can extend that out a little bit, make this one come in a little longer. And I'll probably do some other changes too when I get ready to do this, just to make it all uniform and nice and neat. Make that little part right there, come around here, stretch that line out, extend that leaf stem there. Bring that on down. Just giving you guys a cheat code. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty much, that's all to it. Now, what I'm going to do here is come up with some type of pattern. So that's why I got my compass here. I'm going to draw a nice, I'm going to tie this into this border right here. Tie this into that border. Boom. Actually, I could have extended that a little bit further back this way, and then came across here. And that's going to take away so I don't have to do so much backgrounding work here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this way, like this. So that way I can put more tooling work involved than I have to do backgrounding work, right? Just finish that out. Now I can stamp someone's name up here, or put their initials here, stamp the word home, and then do a basket weave with the stamp behind this. Or you can pretty much do whatever, because now if you wanted to just now here, this is where my logo is going to go, right down there. You have to think like an artist. You have to think like an artist. So, but you can stamp anything here. What would do great with this is if you sold this at a flea market, you can stamp somebody's name, their family name here, and then boom, it's done. But this is how Sheridan is made easy, ladies and gentlemen. Basic flow. And you can't tell where it starts or where it stops. The leaves have masked where it starts and where it stops. Great little trick in the tool. Great little tool. See, I had enough space to put another leaf right there and have it wrap around or wrap over it. Well, no, I tell you what, it would have worked better right there to put two leaves right down at the bottom, would have took up some more of this space, or come out with another one on this side here. This is why I love this little cheat code. I love this little cheat code. You can pretty much set it up and arrange it however you want it to come out. And basically, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we got. And then I built everything else around my pre-setup. All right. So I thank you guys for rocking with me again on this December the 25th, on this Christmas holiday. I am working. I'm doing this for you guys. Not just for you guys, but I do it for myself, because this is like therapy for me. You know, again, if I'm not creating anything, I don't feel right. I'll see you guys on the other side next year. It won't be next year. Probably back tomorrow. Probably back tomorrow with another video, because I'm going to be breaking down now. We just showed you guys how to do a custom leather holster, full compact holster. So guess what's next, ladies and gentlemen? Small projects that can make you a lot of bank. And these custom holsters, this knife sheath is made out of ostrich. And then I came back with a different lacing pattern on this one. I'm going to show you guys how to do the lacing pattern on this one. This is inlaid ostrich. Good project for those of you who are still following the channel. I'm the Leather Cowboy. I'll see you guys on the other side. Keep crafting.